ESPN's Ramona Shelburne has written a story going inside the feud between James Harden and the Sixers. The story says Harden consistently clashed with Doc Rivers during the season, that the other players were upset when Harden didn't travel with the team to a game in Miami, and that after the season, when Harden banked on GM Daryl Morey trading him, Morey, quote-unquote, ghosted and, quote-unquote, betrayed Harden, according to sources close to Harden. Rachel Nichols is back. Rachel, what do you make of this mess?
That it got even messier after that story came out, because there was an Instagram post about the story, as there often is. James Harden replied to that post with one word, lies. Then on his story, he put this, quote, y'all got to chill with these reports. I'm going to start reporting stuff myself. He did not use the word stuff. I just want to point that out, Keyshawn and Skip. Look, this is a mess. But as messy as this is, maybe because this is as messy as it is, I do not see any team swooping in to be James Harden's fairy godmother and making a deal for him before training camp starts. So James Harden is expected to report to Philadelphia. And the last time he was in this position where he was disgruntled over the offseason, he wanted to trade, was in Houston, and he pulled all that crap, little baby, right? Not reporting, going out with him for a week, breaking other league rules. That is not going to fly this time. That was with an inexperienced front office and new coach. This time, he's got Daryl Morey, who has seen this movie before. Yeah. And by the way, the NBA just fined him $100,000, saying he has got to honor his contract. I mean, that was the basis of that fine. So he will be expected to show up. And to me, and I will say this over and over again, the person who controls James Harden's trade value going forward is James Harden. If he shows up, if he is a team player, if he proves himself valuable, there absolutely will be a team before the deadline that says, you know what, he can help push us over the edge. Some of that near $36 million salary will be gone. We want him. If he is a prima donna when he comes in, nobody is going to want to pick him up. And especially because he's the one who put himself in this situation. He could have been a free agent this summer. He decided, I want the money, and God bless him. I totally understand that. But that decision has consequences, and the consequence is he has to show up for Philadelphia right now.
So Rachel, you say he comes in and he becomes a good scout.
Yeah.
Right, and does everything he's supposed to do. His trade value is there, and he can get moved.
I think so.
But what's his play, though? Is his play getting moved just to get out of Philadelphia? Is his play to get moved so I can get a bigger contract? Like, what's his play? Because going in and not being happy in the situation, you're not going to get the best of a player anyway. You're not going to buy in. It's just mentally, psychologically, you can't buy in. If I don't like the front office, if I don't like the teammates that I'm around, I'm not going to give you my maximum effort. It's hard to do.
But he's not like that with his teammates. He is clearly unhappy with Daryl Morey. He is clearly unhappy at the idea of having to go back to Philly. But he is still close with a lot of those guys. Joel Embiid invited him to his wedding this summer. Okay. And in fact, Joel told me this summer he would love for James to come back to the team. Tyrese Maxey and James are still very close. So there are relationships there that are still there. And I even would say that the Daryl Morey relationship is rebuildable. Those guys have such a long history. There is a big cushion that, to me, in my opinion, a couple words here and there over a difficult summer, it's not irreparable to me. However, he is going to have to put in that effort. And you say, what is he playing for? What is his play? Yes, he wants more money because he was not offered by any other team a big contract over the summer. That is why he opted in with Philadelphia. Philadelphia was not offering him a max, which is why he opted in to his old contract. So he wants to show people he is as valuable as he thinks he is. And he wants a role that is commensurate with how he still sees himself. I personally don't know if that's available to him. James Harden is 34 years old. His agent was on a podcast just this summer saying he expects an MVP season out of James, that James could win the MVP award. Not just that he could play at that level, but that he could win the award, his agent was on record saying. I don't think that James Harden is in that position in the NBA anymore. James Harden has to accept that, in my opinion, and we will see what he does going forward.
James Harden is 34, going on 44. He does not take care of himself the way LeBron James takes care of himself at an advanced age. What I don't understand is the idea of betrayal, because the man who, quote-unquote, betrayed him is his biggest fan in the world, the man who wanted to put him on the map, who thanked him when he left with a big ad in the newspaper when he left Houston, right? So how could there be betrayal here? He opted in because I'm trusting you to then trade me elsewhere because you won't pay me max. So I'll take what he considers a minimum deal of
$35.6 million.
$36 million, but it's not $55 million. And I'm trusting that you're going to move me to a team that will pay me max dollars,
well,
right?
the betrayal is about one word that you read in your lead in there, the idea that Daryl Morey, quote, ghosted him, right? That is because Daryl Morey and the Sixers recently had to pay an enormous fine for tampering last season involving some of the machinations around James Harden and PJ Tucker and all the other things that they did. Starting next season with the new collective bargaining agreement, you can start negotiating with your own players right after the NBA Finals. But it's not like that right now, not like that this past summer. So they had to keep their mouth shut around James Harden because they had just gotten tagged by the NBA for not doing that the season before. Well, James Harden clearly didn't understand that if he felt ghosted and felt like the guy who he was very close to let him down.
But Rachel, why and you know this a little bit better than me in diving deeper into the NBA on a daily basis for you. Why would somebody call somebody a liar if I wasn't told something? I'm not just going to call Skip a liar just publicly unless I was told something. I'm not going to call Rachel a liar unless Rachel told me something and she did not do it and lied about it to everybody else. It made me look like a damn fool.
But have you ever had a conversation with something where you walk away having heard one thing and the other person walks away thinking that they said something else? If I don't know, I was not in the room with Daryl Morey and James Harden. But if Daryl Morey says, James, I get it, this isn't going to work out, we will try to trade you. And James Harden hears in his head, we are going to try to trade you.
But you're not, so you
those
tell
are
me.
Two different ideas.
So you tell me,
I don't know.
Keyshawn, we're going to try to move you and trade you. But are you really trying to trade me? Are you really trying, are you sitting there saying, I need this back and I need a fifth and I need a one and I need...
I buy
so you're not really trying to trade me then.
What do you mean?
Because if you really was trying to trade me, you take what they're giving you and move me.
Okay, but no one who is responsible to a team is going to take a bad deal just to help out a player. Like that's not Daryl Morey's job.
But it's not his job. It's to help the organization. There's no question about it. But if you are so hell-bent over on getting, we see it all the time. You got to have this. You're not taking less. Now all you're doing is making me angrier and angrier and angrier at the situation because our understanding is that you were going to try to move me, but you're not. You're playing the game as if you are, and you're not, because I know what the Clippers wanted to give you. You can take that from me. I'm 35 years old. I can't play anymore. Won't you just take that and let me go?
Thank you.
Or 34. and let me go. I don't understand. I just don't get it.
Because I think the rest of the NBA, there wasn't that level of interest, including from the Clippers did not offer the Sixers the moon because they had a different idea of what James Harden is worth.
And that's what I'm saying.
Than James Harden did.
You're not getting the moon. I'm 34 years old, getting ready to be 35. You're not getting the moon. So therefore, you want me to just sit and rot a la my guy in Houston, John Wall. You want to just have me sit on the bench and pay me?
Daryl Morey, this is one of the things that Daryl Morey is best at. Best at is getting maximum trade value for his players, working these wizard-like deals. If Daryl Morey looked at the deal the Clippers were offering and thought in his head, I can do better than this, I don't have to deal him this summer. I can do better than this as we get closer to the trade deadline, and there are teams that feel like they need him, and they'll push them over the edge. He's not going to make a bad deal for his team. That is the way professional sports works.
But you're not going to get a player that's giving you maximum effort in the building. Therefore, you're hurting this team and the coaching staff.
To your point, and Rachel's point, James was able to quit his way out of Houston because he was a younger player. So he gets a pot belly and he just says, you got to move me. And he goes to Brooklyn and he's got a hamstring and he decides, my hamstring, I can't go. And he quits his way out of Brooklyn because he's still really good. And then he goes to Philadelphia. He did lead the league in assists last year, but you could see the rest of his offensive game starting to decline. He's very close to being more trouble than he is worth. To Rachel's point, he better show up and go this time, because if he tries to quit his way out of Philadelphia, the rest of the league is finally going to say, we're out. We are done with you.
We're good.
Right?
I see it differently, but that's just me.
What do you think he should
Because-
do? Do you think that he should come into training camp if he's required to be there and just
Yes.
kind of be like, oh, whatever?
Yeah, I think he should go to training camp if he's required to be there. You shouldn't, Daryl Morey or James shouldn't put Nick Nurse in this position as a coach.
No, but I
to
mean,
try
do you
to
think?
monitor
But
all
what do
of
you
this.
think he should do? But when he get, what if you were James Harden, what would you do when you got there?
I would probably do my best to continue to try to get out of there if I don't really want to be there.
Meaning by being sort of
I would do my
sulking?
best. This play because I owe it to my teammates. I would play and try my best, but I just know, been around players and been in this situation myself, it's very hard when I walk past you every day and I don't like you. It's hard, Rachel. It's very hard to motivate somebody to be able to get them to do what you need them to do. And I think in this situation with James, yes, he got his way out of Houston. The Brooklyn thing was a mess. Everybody needed to leave that. And he got to Philadelphia. And yes, he had clashes with Doc. That's not okay. So they went back and forth in the media. That was part of that whole story. But if you tell me you're going to move me and you're going to try to trade me, then you best to try to trade me and stop trying to get the moon for a guy that's 35 years old.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel. But enough James Harden. I've heard enough for one day.